There was a lot of stuff I had problems with, I'd say. Jim Cummings, I'm interested to see what his like previous work is like, but he is not lead role material.
Oh.
Drive-By Movies, you're watching
Fresh releases.
My name's Blaze.
And I'm James.
And this week we're talking The Wolf of Snow Hollow.
You want to be sheriff? How about we start acting like one?
Wolf of Snow Hollow is about terror gripping a small town, and bodies are discovered after each full moon. Losing sleep, raising a teenage daughter, and caring for his ailing father, Officer Marshall struggles to remind himself there is no such thing as werewolves. So, we have multiple shows on Drive-By Movies YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out Direct to Dumpster, that's one of our more fun shows. It's been a while since we've done it. We'll get it back into it eventually. But there was a period where we were watching a lot of werewolf movies on there. And we were talking about why aren't there more werewolf movies out there? They're made out there. Some good ones. Some slip through the cracks that are pretty good. But it's been a while since we've gotten a good one. Is this it? Let's hear your thoughts, Blaze. What'd you think of this movie?
No, this is to put it lightly, this isn't the werewolf movie you've been waiting for. If you're going in to watch this movie because you're stoked that there's a werewolf movie in 2020, you're going to be severely disappointed, because I'm the guy that was looking forward to that werewolf movie. I thought this was it. This movie isn't a bad movie by any means, but it does that thing that I feel like indie movies are doing.
That thing.
Just more often these past couple years, and it gets kind of annoying. They take a premise or an idea that's somewhat either in the genre or, you know, as a popular premise throughout cinematic history, and they twist it on its head, but not in a fun way. Like, they just twist it on its head for the sake of it. So that's kind of the vibe that I got from this film, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I was really looking forward to this kind of werewolf movie. Even through the first couple acts of this movie, there is some awesome werewolf scenes that were done really well to an extent. It doesn't really pan out for me. Like, the movie as a whole, I felt like was tonally kind of off. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, but I am generally curious about what you thought of the movie, being that you are, like, I think the biggest werewolf fan I know.
Yeah. Well, tonally off is definitely how I would describe this movie. I did enjoy it. I am going to recommend it, honestly. I had fun with it, but there was a lot of stuff I had problems with, I'd say. Jim Cummings, I'm interested to see what his, like, previous work is like, but he is not lead role material.
Oh.
I like his script. I thought his directing was fine, like the way he chose to edit this movie together. And I did like some of the twists and turns that go on within the movie. Like, some of the tone was funny. Like, I like the jokes, but he himself is not really a funny actor. I felt like his comedic moment, he's like a fine actor. He knows how to act, but just like, I thought that his tone just never really caught on to me, where I was just like, is this a serious moment? Is this a comedic moment? Like, I forgot the director of Scare Me, but that was like a same situation where it was like actor, director, and within the same movie also wrote the script. But I actually thought that director did fine in the lead role in that movie, though. And I know that they had both worked together, I guess, in Greener Grass, a movie that's on Hulu. That's a really bizarre comedy. I haven't gotten through that one, but I know that both those actors were in that movie. And it's funny to see that, like, you know, now I'm talking about him now within this movie after talking about Scare Me a few weeks back with you.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like I feel bad hating on him because it's his movie, but just like I felt like he didn't keep the movie properly paced together as a lead role. Like, I would have liked to see a different actor within. And some of the jokes, though, like at times, like just came in at the wrong moment. And there were some things where I was just like, wait, so what was the point over that scene? What was the point over that scene? And I might have to ask you some spoiler questions and stuff. But yeah, I did like it, but tonally it is off, though.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of that, like getting into specifically the tone of this movie, like I thought that there were these really cool, horrific scenes, but oftentimes they would just cut straight to, you know, another, like basically just to this like different set piece, and it would skip kind of all the violence and maybe gore, horrific elements that you would kind of expect from a horror movie. And I know that was definitely intentional from the director writer's perspective, but it just felt like kind of disappointing, as especially as a horror fan. I'll just say it, like, obviously we're gonna have those biases coming into this movie, so it might not be necessarily the best like unbiased review from this isn't a horror podcast or horror show, but it's like we are huge horror fans, so that's definitely something that we're looking forward to. I think both of us though do have a pedigree in indie filmmaking, so it's not like this was something that was totally lost on us.
Oh, yeah.
It just was a little disappointing when you're expecting this werewolf movie. And I mean, when's like the last big werewolf movie that we saw? Was probably like something like Twilight, you know? So the expectations are pretty high, essentially.
But yeah, none come to mind, and I'd love to see more werewolf movies. We talked about it on Direct to Dumpster. I think the last werewolf movie we watched Silver Bullet, and My Mom's a Werewolf, I remember at one point, and we were just like, we need more werewolf movies. But yeah, I mean, just downfalls, there isn't that many good ones. Like, of course, there's American Werewolf in London. That's like the go-to one that everyone goes for, or The Wolfman. I say check out Bad Moon from the 90s. That's a really fun werewolf movie with Dennis the Menace as the lead kid in that movie. But yeah, with this, so like some of the comedic moments I did like. There were some really funny moments, but I thought like the father-daughter relationship within this movie was a little annoying at times. I get that he's like a recovering alcoholic and stuff, and he's got a bad relationship with his wife who we keep hearing about, but we never see on screen. But like, just like, I didn't get why there was so much tension between them at times. Like, we hear that, like, you know, there's some awkwardness between him because of his alcoholism that he had previously. But just like, I felt like some of the nastier scenes though, like there's some really like nasty scenes where she's like, he's trying to be a good dad at like certain parts, but she would just be like mean to him. Maybe it's just like, you know, teenagers, what can you do and stuff, but it just didn't fit the tone, and just like it didn't feel like there was a good enough resolution with them at the end. You know, like once it got going, like I was into it, and I did really like seeing Robert Forster in this movie. I mean, seeing him as a cop in the Return of Twin Peaks was really cool and stuff, and I haven't seen him in a lot of movies, but just like, you know, he's a really fantastic actor, and like rest in peace, like this is his last movie that we'll get to see him in, and it's cool to see him as a cop again, I'd say. And I think some of the better moments were the father-son relationship between him and Jim Cummings and stuff. And I did like, you know, the heaviness on weight on Jim Cummings' shoulders throughout the movie, like trying to live up to his dad, and definitely not being seen as like, you know, his dad's shoes. But I liked that part of the movie.
I really enjoyed a lot of the dramatic elements of this movie. I know you're saying that for you, the daughter was kind of a little annoying, but I did like that father-daughter relationship, even though at sometimes, you know, you got the teenage angst that you can't really explain. But really, for me, that whole diversion at the end where it's I felt like it's a kind of a trope in indie movies where they now take like something popular, like a genre movie style, and then at the end it's all diverted to like, there's actually no werewolf, this is just a guy dressing up in a werewolf suit. That was just such a disappointment for me, especially when there was some really cool werewolf scenes in the beginning that I really don't think they can explain. Like, it just doesn't make sense. If it really was a guy in a suit, even though he's a taxidermist, I still don't think he would have been able to really eviscerate people so lifelike.
Exactly. I agree.
Okay, yeah, the plot twist might make sense on paper, but it really doesn't when you really get down to think about it. There's no way this guy would have looked so lifelike, like a werewolf, even moving his jaw and stuff in the scenes. And then it's like, oh, he's a taxidermist. No, he's got to be like a special effects artist. This guy better be Tom Savini, honestly.
I know, right? Like had crazy Tommy Jarvis vibes from Friday the 13th, and I was just like, how does I like the werewolf scenes. Like, I was like, oh damn, this is a cool looking werewolf and stuff. Not a lot of movies can make really good looking werewolves. And I mean, yeah, the Underworld franchise, I guess the werewolves look kind of cool, and they're for the most part pretty practical. I know in the newer ones they're more CGI, but Like, yeah, it's one of the better looking werewolves we've seen. And then just to find out that, like, oh, damn, it's just a costume and stuff. Like, I was surprised. And yeah, I was just like, there's no way anyone can rip up someone like that insanely within seconds, just because every person who's killed within this movie is killed super quickly and stuff. And it was some cool scenes. And like, it was like a fun twist. And I love that big reveal of him, like, revealing how tall of a guy he was and stuff. But but it's one of those ones where you're like, if you think about it, you're just like, oh, come on, really? yeah.
So one of the last things I did want to touch on before we wrap this up was just kind of the comedic element. This film is a comedy at heart, and I think that's not like one of the things they really advertise in the trailer, but it does have, you know, these tip of the hats, these nods to a film like Fargo. It has that kind of same feel with these hapless cops and the kind of absurdist situations they're kind of thrust into with the plot of this film. Did a lot of the comedy work for you? Were you like cracking up at times? I'm just kind of curious because for me, I didn't feel like there were some scenes that I thought was funny, but I felt like it just contrasted the kind of horror in this movie almost like drastically, and especially the way that they edited it.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I could do without the like you know, sarcastic remark and then out of nowhere like they start swinging at each other and stuff. Like those moments are like funny and stuff, but those are like very independent like tropes and stuff that you see within like mumblecore style movies and stuff. And like those parts, like I felt like weren't that funny. I really liked when it came out of nowhere and stuff. Like those kind of jokes I thought landed better. Like off the top of my head, I thought the best joke in the movie was the daughter asking, like, aren't you going to ask if I'm okay? And he's like, no, I'm not going to ask if you're okay. You're supposed to be at home and stuff. And like, I butchered that joke and stuff. But like, I thought that was like a funny moment just because it kind of came out of nowhere and stuff. But yeah, honestly, the comedy part, it is definitely more of a comedy than a horror film. And I can see this movie like doing well on Shudder and stuff. I would have liked it, seen it through Shudder, but for now you can only rent it really. And like I enjoyed it and stuff, but it's definitely going to be a movie that like, you know, I'm not going to really remember at the end of 2020. And I know that sounds like I'm dissing it right now, like Jim Cummings, if you're watching this review, like, you know, I'm interested to see what else you got in like store in the future and stuff. But, you know, just wasn't the best movie in my opinion. Just like wasn't like my favorite, but I did like it though.
Yeah, I'll say that kind of the same as like, I think we might have been really picking at it, but at the end of the day, would you rather me just say, yeah, I liked it, and then we just end the video? The video is 3 seconds long. You know, I really want to get into talking about the film when we do like a kind of a review. Yeah. So I think us talking about it, I do think the film was worth a watch. I don't think like I'm definitely recommending the movie if it's for you. I think if you're coming in with this horror mindset, dial it back a little bit, because that's the mindset I came in with. I was a little disappointed, but I think if you come in from an indie film and then comedic movie, if that's what you're really looking for, I think you'd actually be pleasantly surprised with this film if you haven't seen Jim Cummings' first movie, Thunder Road.
Yeah, and basically just what Blaze said, like, you know, it sounds like I was butchering this movie and stuff, but, you know, I say check it out for Jim Cummings' script. I liked his script. And then it's a cool ass werewolf outfit apparently. But yeah, I liked it for that part, and it's definitely like a fresh take on like the werewolf genre. But yeah, so definitely best way to help support the show actually is by watching the movie itself. You can rent it through our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below. That'll help us out, as well as coming back here to leave a comment telling us what you thought about the movie and our thoughts on the movie.
And guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. Even click that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
Also, if you can't get enough of Drive By Movies, we're also on Instagram and Twitter. Check out the links at the bottom of this video, as you can see. That's going to conclude this week's episode of Fresh Releases. Tune in next week for a brand new video.